Hi folks, I'm Rob Wagner. I'm the Scene Studio Supervisor. These videos are going to be for practicum classes. They do not replace the practicum training. They're meant to familiarize you with stuff before you come in because some of this is very new territory. I wanted to give people an opportunity to see what the training is going to be, maybe before you get here. Rule 1 in my shop is ask questions. So if you have questions, please feel free to ask. In these videos, we'll be covering 4 tools: the radial arm saw, the miter saw, battery-powered drills, and pneumatic staplers. Everyone is required to demonstrate competence. I will show you how the tool works. Then you will do exactly what I did, using the tool effectively. Once you use the tool effectively, we check you off, and you're allowed to log hours in the Scene Studio as part of your practicum classes. So we've talked about how to cut materials, how to make them shorter. Now I want to talk about 2 ways that we join materials. The first is with deck screws and with battery-powered drills. Generally, when we're using screws and drills, we're using larger materials, larger lumber, again 2x4. I'll start by going over the battery-powered drills. When we're assembling, we do 2 different bits in the drills. The first is the one that drives the screws. This is a Bosch battery-powered drill. I will call it a screw gun because that's the training I have and I can't get rid of the verbiage. But there's some basic features. It is battery-powered. It has a battery in the bottom. The battery is removed by pushing the big red button on the front and it slides out. One of the nice things about the battery is they have included a battery meter. So you push the button and you can see how much juice you have left. Up from the battery is the trigger. This is a variable speed tool. So the harder you pull the trigger, the faster the tool will go. So if you're not feeling confident initially, you can go at a slower speed and sort of sneak up on it until you feel more confident. Up from the trigger is the forward and reverse switch. When it is pushed in, there's an arrow on the switch that indicates the direction the screw will go when you pull the trigger. So with this pushed in, the screw will be in reverse. If you flip it over, if this is forward, so if you push it in, the screw will go further into the wood. We have a selector switch on the top of the tool that selects 1 or 2. This is top speed. So 1 is a slower top speed, 2 is a higher top speed. When we're driving screws, it is easier to drive screws on a slower speed, so we keep it on 1. Our primary interest in this shop is education, not speed. In front of the speed control, there are 3 little icons. There's a screw icon, there's a drill icon, there's a hammer icon. When you're driving screws, you want to be on screw. In front of the screw, we have this adjustment for numbers indicating 1 to 20. That is only in effect when you're on the screw setting, and it governs a clutch that helps save the internal gears on the tool. And these numbers allow that clutch to slip and not damage the gears. It's not critical that you know exactly what's going on. Just understand that for most of our purposes, between 15 and 20. Forward from the torque settings is the 3-jaw chuck. It is designed to be twisted, and when you twist it, you can see 3 little jaws come forward and come back, and that's how it grabs different bits. This bit is a 6-sided bit. We have 3 jaws and 6 sides. So when you set it, you want to make sure that the flat parts of the bit are being contacted by the jaws of the chuck. Now, it will click once. We've discovered that isn't enough to really set it and hold the bit. You want it to go, and then the bit is secure. The difference between driving screws and drilling holes, the gun is essentially the same. Battery, it's a variable speed, it's got forward and reverse. You want to be in forward when you're drilling holes. The other change is it is much more efficient to drill holes at a higher speed. So you want to be not on 1 like driving screws, you want to be on 2, and you want the icon to be set to drill bit so that the clutch doesn't slip when you're pre-drilling. That's the essence of the 2 tools we'll be using, and then I'm going to go over how they're used and how we line up the joint and set the screws. So when we're connecting 2 boards using screws and screw guns. We're using 3-inch screws. The screws are square drive, so they fit on the end of that little square bit that we had. In terms of laying out where the screws go, there's been some confusion. I have this much thickness of material and I want to be able to put 2 screws into it. So what I will do is I will set up the joint the way I want it. I'll mark the back of the joint, and now I know that's my materials thickness. Generally speaking, I will divide this into 4. So that's in half, and each half in half. And then this in half, and that's where I want to put a screw, and that's where I want to put a screw. Deck screws have a wedging action. If you've ever seen anyone split kindling for a fire with an axe or a wedge, you know that you can get into the wood grain and break it open. Well, driving a wood screw into this grain will have the same action, and if you break open the grain, you lose most of the holding power of the screw. So within about a foot of the end of a board, I will pre-drill rather than split the wood. The natural human tendency is to look carefully at your work. It's important to make sure that you stay at 90 degrees to the surface. Practice this every time and you'll get better. Also, please do not drill directly into the table. These are work tables. Some of them have holes in them. I understand that. If you put a hole in my work table, I understand. If you put 10 holes in my work table, we will have to speak about it. The nice thing about pre-drilling is you can take the screw, and if you put it in the end of the hole and you give it a little twist, it'll stay. Then you can take the drill. Again, I'm on 1, I'm on screw, I'm on low speed. I'm gonna get the bit into the end of the screw. It's important to make sure that the drill is in the same line as the screw. If you're at an angle, it will not drive as well. I'll line everything up. And I want to stop just below the surface. The reason for stopping just below the surface is if for some reason we get out on stage, this gets tipped up and dragged. If the screw is sticking out, it will scratch up the paint and the scenic artist will come see us for why we ruined their painted floor. When we're doing this for real joints, we will always use 2 screws because only 1 screw makes a pivot. So make sure that the other side is lined up. Give it that little half twist. And you'll see there is no real air in the joint. The joint is tight. The screws are set. That's how we want to do it.